Thanks for joining us for the first state chapter rally for the ASMBS. All right. Our first event is going to be a keynote speech by Governor Paul LePage from Maine and his wife, First Lady LePage. I'm going to let Jamie do the introductions, so please give them your attention, and then we'll whoop it up after the keynote. So thanks for coming.
Good evening.
Am I supposed to be there? Oh, my mic is hot.
Can you guys hear me? How's that? All right. Thank you for that introduction. So I think we're going to kick things off here. Dr. Hutter's got our New England chapter. Oh, am I wearing that? This is for our New England chapter of the Obesity Society. Well, good evening, everybody. I am honored and humbled to be here with so many of my esteemed colleagues, as well as two of my now most well-known patients. Some of you know me, most of you don't. I am a bariatric surgeon who practices in Maine, where I've been since completing my fellowship going on 12 years ago now. When I was first considering coming to Maine when I was a young fellow, at least I like to think of myself as a young fellow at the time, I thought the same thing that you are probably thinking. Where is Maine again? It is probably especially impressive when you consider where I was coming from, namely Northern California. I had a wonderful mentor from UC Davis, my instructor, Dr. Ali. He was a great teacher, but man, he had one heck of a non-compete clause. What attracted me to Maine was the opportunity to build a program dedicated to the surgical management of a disease that, as we all know, has become the epidemic of the 21st century, obesity. Little did I know that at that time, 12 years later, I would, one, still be in Maine, and two, that I would be taking care of the highest-ranking political figure of the state, not to mention his wonderful wife, Anne. Yet here we are. Now, as all of you have dedicated your lives to fighting obesity know, we get to know our patients perhaps a little bit more than your average patient-provider relationship generally allows. As such, I like to think that I've gotten to know the LePage family fairly well. Probably as much as I have taught him about this disease, he has taught me about history and politics. No matter what your political affiliation may be, there is no doubt that being a governor is a fascinating life. We have an agreement that we have to spend at least half of our appointment times talking about medicine. I remember the day I met with Governor LePage in my office to discuss his possible surgery. I like to think that at this point in my career, I am fairly well composed. But I would be lying to say that there wasn't at least a slight twinkling of nerves that took me back a few years. I made the governor promise me two things. One, you have to have a good outcome. I told him that I like coming to Obesity Week meetings and I would really, really like to be invited back. The second, on a more serious note, is that if you do indeed have a good experience, please consider sharing it. There is still far too much stigma against this disease that claims more lives than many forms of cancer combined. If we can build on your success to help show other people there is something to be done and that there are people who care, then let us please not waste that opportunity. I am happy to say that as a couple, the LePages have together lost over 120 pounds. They have individually and collectively seen resolutions of diabetes, hypertension, obstructive sleep apnea, hyperlipidemia, and numerous musculoskeletal issues. They have combined lost 165% of their excess body weight. And true to their word, they are here with us tonight. Won't you please join me in giving a warm welcome to my patients, my friends, the Honorable Governor Paul and Mrs. Anne LePage.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I'd like to thank Dr. Jamie Loggins for inviting us to speak here today. Obesity is a problem in our nation, and it's a problem in Maine. And beyond that, it's a problem in the LePage and the DeRosby family. In 1990, obesity in Maine was 10%. In 2016, it grew to 30%, putting us 24th in the nation. As the governor of Maine, I like to be in the middle of the pack on most things, but this one, I'd like to be 50th. This is one of those places that you'd like to not show up on the map. You know, our obesity rate in Maine equals the national average. We're in the middle of the pack. However, Maine is the biggest and most obese state in New England. We saw the results of bariatric surgery on people close to us in our office, and we decided together to take the jump. We heard Dr. Loggins was one of the best in the country, and his practice is right in my hometown of Lewiston. In fact, for security reasons and for privacy reasons, my alias when I went in for surgery was Lewis Town. It was really cool. I already knew I had risk factors, especially diabetes. My mother was a type 1 diabetic. I have 13 brothers and 4 sisters, of which 5 have type 1 diabetes. My mom she lost her eyes, lost her legs. And I was in danger of struggling with type 2. My lovely wife, her dad, passed away at 69 years old. I'm 69. Complication with obesity and type 2 diabetes. I used to smoke, high blood pressure, sleep apnea. My knees had to stop playing racquetball because I gained all kinds of weight. My back, give out. Had to give up hockey, had to give up skiing. Now, some of my political opponents just absolutely love it, but I wasn't ready to give up yet. I want to be around for my children and my grandchildren. And who knows, there might be another election in my future. You know, many people that we speak to are ashamed of their weight. They're embarrassed about getting surgery. They're embarrassed about talking about obesity. But Ann and I, we are not. We shouldn't be afraid to speak about what will kill us. And we shouldn't be afraid to treat it. Because my feeling is this: you're dead for a long time. So we both decided to do the sleeve procedure instead of the full gastric bypass at the recommendation of the medical team. I had the procedure done in September 2016, and my wife Ann had it done a few months later. I was absolutely surprised and elated how quick we recovered. As a matter of fact, they said you got to take 2 weeks and lay down, relax and all that. And man, I'll tell you, if you're a governor, 2 weeks off it's like you get what happened to all the good times. You lose sight of what you're doing. So it was, unfortunately, I must admit, now I cheated a little bit and went back to work a little quick. Lost weight very fast. But I will tell you, I lost weight so fast that most of my political opponents thought I was sick and I was at the end of my rope. And little did they know, and sorry to disappoint them, but my energy level is way up. We are healthier now than we have been for a very, very long time. And I'll tell you, look at my wife. Isn't she hot? I am 69 years old, and I am down to my college weight. It's incredible. I've lost over 60 pounds, and recently when I had my annual physical, the doctor said that my lab work looked like a 20-year-old, and I feel like I'm back in college. But my wife said it's okay to feel good. It's okay to feel like you're back in college, but I can't act like it anymore. You know, when I went to the presidential inauguration back in January, I pulled out a tuxedo that I hadn't worn for 25 years. All we had to do is send it to the cleaners for good cleaning. No alterations necessary. The suit I'm wearing tonight is an Italian suit that I bought in 1996, and I haven't worn for 20 years. And I'm very proud that it now fits me again. The store that sold it to me closed in 1996. So it's over 20 years ago, and we're very, very proud of the fact that our health is so much better. In fact, Ann and I, we're going to Florida here next month, and when we get down, prior to last year, we'd go out, and every morning when we're in Florida, we get on our bikes and we go 25 miles. Now we get on our bikes and we go 40 miles, and it takes us about the same time as it did for 25 miles. It's incredible. It's just incredible. In Maine, I'm pleased to hear that private insurance companies are now considering bariatric surgery as a safe and effective treatment for obesity. Medicaid and Medicare is also moving in that direction. And believe me, I'm in Washington many times. In fact, I'm leaving tonight because we've had some problems in Maine with weather, because we're under, we have a state of emergency. But I am coming back down Thursday to testify on Capitol Hill. Every time I meet with the president and the vice president, we talk about how we need to reform America. And I'm considered one of the experts in the whole area of Medicaid, Medicare, and health care, as well as reforming welfare. It's a life-saving program. I'm very, very proud that I can say that in Maine, if you're able to work, we are working with you and getting you back to work, and we're making you exercise. We're making you work those pounds off. And whether or not you go through surgery or not, because there are many different ways, but we as Americans have to go back and get America working again. And so the president calls me his little skinny guy from Maine. I'm trying to get him on a You know, for me, having the surgery and going back to work was relatively easy because I sit at a desk. But my wife, shortly after surgery, I see her running around. She's a clean freak. Believe me, if you're at home in Florida, our home in Maine, and the Blaine house, the governor's mansion, she's a clean freak. And so shortly after, when she's supposed to be recuperating, she's out cleaning, lifting boxes and stuff. And I say, hey, wait a minute, you can't be doing that. She just laughed, waved me off, and look at her. She looks just fantastic. Are we glad we did it? yes. Yes. Because for years, I worked out, but I was putting too many calories in and trying to burn them off. But today, my cholesterol levels are healthy. My blood pressure is healthy. My knees don't hurt anymore. My back is feeling great. You know, I used to have nightmares before I had surgery. Now I have nice dreams. So I tell people that I am absolutely convinced, without a shadow of a doubt, that obesity is the #1 killer in America. And we have to. Whether you do it through surgery, through hard work and dieting, I don't care how you do it. Just do it. And now I'll let you have a few words, have my wife say a few words, and then I'm going to take her home because I want to get home before too late. Thank you very much.
Good evening, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here with all of you. Tonight, I'm going to speak to you first about my experience with weight loss surgery, but also about our decision to have the surgery together. For years, I have struggled with my weight. Every morning when I woke up, and every evening before I went to bed, my weight was the first and last thing that I thought about every day. Originally, when Paul considered having this surgery done, I quickly dismissed considering it for myself. I thought it was my failure. I owned it. I should be able to just lose weight. I didn't need the surgery. It was the easy way out, and it was a cop-out. The formula is very simple. Eat less, exercise more. I didn't have any serious comorbidities that I needed to be concerned about yet. The reality of the situation is that I have spent my entire life struggling with my weight. You name it, I tried it. Weight Watchers, Atkins, South Beach, no carbs, no food, just liquids, to name a few. I've tried them all. Finally, Dr. Loggins said something that resonated with me. It actually resonated with both of us. He said, we don't judge people who have open heart surgery after a heart attack. Why should we judge people who take preventative steps to preventing heart disease or diabetes or any other type of illness resulting from obesity? I thought to myself, you know, he might be onto something. And then I thought to myself, do I really want to be left behind? Paul never doubted his position. He was going to get this surgery. To Paul, this wasn't just about losing weight, it was about committing to a longer life and a healthier lifestyle. I didn't want to be left behind, so I made the appointment with Dr. Loggins and explored my options. I learned that obesity is a much more complex issue than I knew. I embraced the notion of taking control of my health, that taking control of my health is not something that I should be embarrassed about. The single best decision I have ever made in my life was booking an appointment with Dr. Jamie Loggins. There's no words, dear, no words. I had the bariatric sleeve done last December, 2 days after Christmas. And at 59 years old, I'm in the best shape of my entire life. I've lost a total of 70 pounds. But it's not just about the weight loss. This surgery has literally given me my life back. The burden has been lifted. I no longer have to make up excuses on attending an event with my husband because I have nothing to wear. Nothing fits. I no longer wake up and fall asleep each day obsessing over my weight. I have confidence, I have energy. I really do have my life back. The best part is that Paul and I did this journey together. We made the decision not only for ourselves, but for each other. Don't underestimate the importance of having a support system with this life-changing surgery. Now, almost a year later, I hope people find inspiration from our story. Surgery is life-changing. There's nothing easy about making the decision to having weight loss surgery done. The world as you know it changes. This isn't a cop-out. This is an affirmative step towards a healthier you. I hope one day we don't stigmatize weight loss surgery, but we encourage people to explore this option openly and decide whether this is something that is best for them. We need to encourage individuals to get healthy and take control of their life. They shouldn't hide because society treats weight loss surgery as an easy way out, because it certainly isn't. So thank you so very much for listening to our story, but best thing we've ever done. Thank you so much.
We have a little gift for you here. Well, Governor LePage and First Lady LePage, we truly appreciate you coming to share your story with us, and more importantly, we really value the fact that you share your story with others who need the same sort of help that you sought. So we thank you, and please accept this small token of gratitude for joining with us and really sharing your stories. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Governor, thanks so much. We really appreciate it. You betcha. All right, it's okay. Head off. Perfect. If anybody has any questions for the governor or the first lady, they have a little time to answer some questions. So hop up to the mic. I think there's some mics in the back, or just stand up and yell. Anybody have any questions?
That was easy.
Helmuth has a question. Oh, he always has a question. You have a big voice. You can do it.
Well, what it does is being an example and showing as an example, not only in our state through our Department of Health and Human Services, but through people like Dr. Loggins in the commercial markets and the hospitals. I think we speak our story, and believe me, there isn't a day that doesn't go by that Ann and I aren't told that we've lost so much weight, we look great, and blah, 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 and all that stuff. But the bottom line, where I think we have the most influence, is under this current administration, I have been invited down to work an awful lot in health care and in welfare reform, and believe me, it's at top of my list. That's where we can help, is we keep the dialogue going right here in the capital city. Anyone else? Yes. I would say this, that you need to, one, make sure your legislators know. And believe me, I will tell you one thing about legislators, both at the state level and at the federal level. The one thing that drives them, with probably the exception of the United States Senate, telephone calls, emails, and letters really gets them going. In particular, election years. Election years really gets a lot done. This is my last session, but it's an election year next year. I get more done in election year than I do any other time. So this, if you're having a gubernatorial election, if you're having legislators and senators hold their feet to the fire, this is the time to make it happen. And I will tell you this, the people in Washington are listening. They are interested in getting America working again, But in order to be working again, you have to be healthy, and that's very important.
Here's your next job.
Yeah, my next job. The answer is yes. Unequivocally, the answer is yes.
You'll take it?
No, that we need it. America needs to understand that obesity can be beat, and it takes a lot, and it takes more than just the individual. As my wife, believe me, she is absolutely correct when she said she has tried everything. She has tried everything. And it's been a long haul. For the last 35 years, as I've known her, since she gave birth, it's been a struggle. It's been a struggle with her brothers, her sisters. It's been a struggle with my brothers, my sisters. And it's been a long journey. And we are now so comfortable in our skin because we've got it done. And, you know, whether you do it, as I said before, whether you do it through surgery, whether you do it through whatever means, it's important. And yes, it needs to be coordinated because America needs to get fit. Because without being fit, we can't be great. And so the answer is yes, a coordinated effort. I'm doing my share as much as I can. I've already been asked a couple times to come to Washington. I will say this, if I could do it from Maine, I would love to.
4 people from the governor's office have had the bariatric surgery.
Yeah, 4 people in my office have had the bariatric surgery. And we have one more that is going to have it here in the next few months. He just had a relapse. Because of his weight, he had a problem with his heart. And so now he's getting, he was already scheduled to have the surgery, looking into having the surgery, but he had a heart episode. Now he's getting healed up on that, and we'll be getting the surgery. So that'll be 5 in the last 3 years.
Governor, I had a quick question for you as well. So the AMA in 2013 declared that obesity is a chronic disease, and I think anybody that treats it sees it as a chronic problem, a chronic disease. And clearly you and Mrs. LePage understand that based on your experience. But we did a national survey last year, and around 1,500 people, representative population, and still about half the population sees it as a willpower issue. It's just a lack of willpower or laziness or a personality defect. What role does government have in terms of trying to get the message out that this is a disease, just like you said, any other disease, it needs to be treated and managed as a chronic problem?
Right. Government has a role in as far as we deal with the Medicaid and the Medicare. I think, because since it's government run and it's regulated by the government, certainly we have a role. I think where government can do a much better job is to go out to the medical profession. I could tell you right now, I know a lot of athletes that are on television every day that when they were playing professional sports, they were slim, they were aggressive, they were talented, they were doing great, they were icons to America, and they were mentors to our children. They need to be brought into the dialogue. Legislators need to be brought into the dialogue. Our schools need to be brought into the dialogue. So while I believe government can do some, government can't do it all. It needs to be done by the communities. Everybody's got to join in. This is a real problem. And I'll tell you, I never thought it was until my knees were gone and my back was gone and I had to have a stent in my heart and my blood pressure was way up and my opponents were sitting on the sideline saying he's almost done. Then I brought him a new surprise. Guess what? I'm healthy and I'm around for the long haul. Thank you very much.
Thanks again. Yeah, it's great. It was really wonderful. Thanks, Governor. Thank you. Appreciate it. You have a safe trip home. All right. Thanks, Jamie. All right. Rachel, come on up. Where's Rachel? Oh, got it. We're going to get going with our rally. Thanks again, Governor. That was really fantastic. And we're going to jump into our little state chapter rally here, so feel free to make a little noise as we call your chapter up. So what we're going to do, we're just going to do a roll call.
I need my mic.
You're on.
Good.
All right, so we're just going to go down the list. What we've asked everybody to do is just give us a slide of some of the accomplishments that your state chapter's done this year. The idea here is to really highlight the achievements of the state chapters. Even if it's just we formed a chapter or we're forming a chapter, that's a start. The reason I really wanted to do this is because I think now more than ever, the state chapters are really where the activity needs to lie in terms of access, advocacy, policy changes moving forward. The current political climate, I think, is really going to focus back on the states in terms of some of these policy issues and access. So you guys at the state chapter level are going to have to be the workhorses moving forward to make these changes, and not just move forward, but sometimes to keep things from moving backwards. And so we've got tons of great leaders in the room. This is just a chance to show your stuff a little bit. So I'm going to let Rachel kick off the roll call here.
Stacy's so action-oriented. Can I take a minute and thank everybody for coming?
Yes,
Because I'm really happy with the number of people that are in this room. I tried to take a picture a second ago. The lights are so bright on us that I can't take a picture of how many of you are here. So if Neil or somebody that's out in the audience could try to get a panorama of how many people came, thank you so much. I'll just disclose to you that Stacy and I had some conversations about, will anybody come? So thank you. Thank you for being here. Also, before we begin with the state chapter slides, I wanted to shine a light on one of our initiatives as a committee had been to try to increase participation in the ASMBS elections, which affects everything that the entire organization does as our leadership changes. And I wanted to share the final results on the percentages of participation from the chapters because I wanted to recognize those chapters. You'll be able to tell from the results of the election, you'll be able to see why the election turned out the way that it did. So our number one highest percentage participation in the election was the New England chapter. Pilgrims, which got our dear Matt Hutter into the Secretary-Treasurer position, and he'll be the president in 2020, and the wonderful hats. I feel bad for Wisconsin because they were number one for weeks and weeks and weeks, and I thought they were gonna be number one tonight. So Wisconsin deserves a special. They put on a valiant fight, but came through number two with 46%. Thank you, Wisconsin. And Connecticut, led by our very dear Neil Flock, came in as number three, 42%. Well done.
All right, so let's have everybody stand up, get your flags up, and we're going to run through the roll call. Feel free to make as much noise as you want.
Well done, everyone. We doubled the amount of participation in that election, more than we had ever had before, twice as much as we'd ever had before. So thank you to all of you.
Oh, Lord. Oh, geez.
Is that you?
Sadly, I'm afraid so.
Oh my goodness,
That's my
Connecticut's
worst
up in front of
nightmare
me with
right
Stacy's
there.
faces on
Wow.
ping pong paddles. All right, here we go, and we're watching the clock, folks, so we're gonna finish on time.
I don't even want to take a picture of that. Go ahead.
How do we advance?
There's a clicker.
There's
Yep,
a
go ahead.
clicker where?
Can we get the slides up for the state chapter slides? There we go. All right, so we got our state chapter presidents, our stars, our chapter members, and start with Alabama. Is there anybody from Alabama here?
Sure, Todd Foreman's here. I was talking to him earlier. Alabama, there you are. Thank you, Todd. Alabama's increased his membership by 46%. Thank you very much, Todd.
All right. Good job, Alabama. California, they've done a lot in terms of working on out-of-network coverage, addressing expansion of 3- and 6-month medically supervised weight loss programs, which we all know is a huge problem. And they started their ASMBS chapter meeting with the Southern California ACS. And I've seen a lot of that. A lot of the ASMBS chapters are partnering with the college at their meetings to sort of join forces, and that's a fantastic initiative. Great job, California. You guys are lame. Come on, John. Let's hear it.
The Carolinas. Where are you in the room, Carolinas? Shout to me. There you are. Every time I start to talk about breaking chapters that are big groups together, they say, don't mess with the Carolinas. We're happy together, North and South Carolina. They had a wonderful meeting where they had a high number of attendees, and they had a good happy hour reception as well, which they thought was important enough to put on their slide.
Yeah, I was there. It was a fantastic meeting.
Stacy was there, and it was a great meeting. We've been trying to, do some regional meetings and help encourage the small chapters to gather with larger ones in order to see each other more than just once a year at convention.
How many IH folks are here? Yeah, the Carolinas had 100 IH folks at their meeting, and that was a big accomplishment for them. So great job.
Well done.
Go Carolinas. All right, you're going back the wrong way. There we go. Connecticut, where's that?
So it's a left click.
All right.
Connecticut's up here. I
Thanks,
need
man.
one.
Things I thought I would never in my life do. All right. They had a combined meeting with the ACS as well. They had a great walk, $25,000, and participating in their new chapter, New England chapter. I hope not. And they had a two-day Connecticut chapter state meeting at Foxwoods. There you go. And of course, Neil's our Twitter king, so they had to do something with Twitter. Great job, Connecticut. Please throw these away when you're done.
Was Helmut the cheerleader in college?
I think he was.
All right, Delaware. Shout to me. Where are you, Delaware?
There you go.
All right. Small but mighty Delaware just held their 3rd annual state chapter meeting. Started performing outpatient bariatric procedures in their state. And they've got some blues carriers that have dropped mandatory supervised diet requirements. Well done.
Good job, Delaware. All right, Florida, Puerto Rico, and the Caribbean chapter. They must have really good eyes because I can't read their slide. All right, they got a good, hey guys.
They had so many accomplishments.
They have a good bank account. They're incorporated Puerto Rico into the Florida chapter, which was really a smart move. A lot of advocacy training, collaboration with their nutritional guidelines, educational dinner, and a state chapter newsletter. So you guys have done a lot and should be proud of it. Thanks, good job.
Illinois, I had the good fortune to go to Illinois' meeting last year. They do a really good meeting. I must not have done a good job because I wasn't invited back. But they're one of the oldest state chapters. They were established in 2004, which is probably why I happen to know they have a professional that coordinates the meeting and things like that, which is why it's so well done. They have 71 members, including 42 surgeons and 29 integrated health members, and they hosted the 4th annual Midwest Bariatric Summit in Chicago in October. It's a great meeting if you ever get a chance to go.
All right, Indiana. I just was in Indiana state chapters. Margaret, Inman here. Where are you guys at? There you are. All right.
Indiana.
So their biggest accomplishment was having me come as giving their keynote speaker, but it was great. It was a really nice, and Margaret did a fantastic job. I learned all about Indiana and a lot of trivia. We had a great meal, and they've got a great group there working hard. So thanks so much, Indiana.
Special thanks to Margaret's been serving in that president position for a long time, so special thanks for your long service there. Iowa, where's that?
Hawkeyes, there you go.
Are.
Teresa's
The wonderful Iowa chapter. They participated in the Illinois summit that we were just talking about, so that was a good regional meeting. Met with the Department of Health regarding obesity intervention, and they elected their new officers in July. Thank you, Iowa.
Good job, Iowa. All right, Kansas, just getting a little bit out where I grew up, out in the Great Plains. Full chapter status achieved this year, so brand new chapter in Kansas, great job. That's a big accomplishment. We look forward to great things from Kansas. Where's Kansas? Anybody here?
This was one of our new chapters
New
this
chapters,
year.
they may not be here, but great job. Now we got all 50 states represented now in our chapter system.
My home state, Louisiana. There you are. We have been, Stacy was talking about this a few minutes ago, the Louisiana American College of Surgeons has always been so gracious with us, giving us free meeting space during their meeting, which is in January. And so that's something that we've been continuing. It's been a good partnership for us. They've been doing strategic planning for regional meetings and trying to increase membership. We've got some very talented bariatric surgeons in my state that have not been participating in ASMBS. And we're meeting tonight in just a few minutes when we finish the state chapter rally. Thanks, Louisiana.
Good job, Louisiana.
You get all the hard ones.
Oh, geez, I got Michigan. O-H. Woo! All right, so Michigan did a few things. They had a great 10th. I was actually just there. It's a great chapter. It's a really strong chapter. We had a great time, a lot of good talks, and a great IH presence there as well. Big meeting attendance. They're aligning with the collaborative for their meetings. They're really working on advocacy. They're working with the Blues to work on their 6-month requirements. So as much as I hate to say it, great job, Michigan.
And they got a lot of people here tonight.
They do.
Well done. Missouri. There you
All
are.
right.
Semi-annual meeting in May. A creation of Allied Health Collaboration Group. That's an excellent project to be working on. Allied Health Facebook page. And one of their members, these guys just met today. One of their members co-founded #OBSM. I see them on Twitter, a monthly Twitter chat about obesity, so that's helping get our word out actually internationally. So a tremendous accomplishment in the use of social media. Well done.
If you haven't been on the Sunday evening OBSM Twitter chat, it's great. It's a great thing.
Yeah, check it out.
Great job. All right, New England Society, where are you? Finally, after how long, Matt? You guys have a chapter?
Kansas
All right.
and New England were the two that were new this year.
All right, you're up and running. That's good. You have a board, you have a charter, you have bylaws, you've got your 503 status, so you're formed. Great job. So we look forward to lots of great things from New England from our next future president, Matt Hutter. Great job.
They were also #1 in election participation.
That's true.
They're the best. New Jersey. Where's New Jersey? Anybody? Thank you for thank you for being there and holding that flag. 2 member educational meetings and working on out-of-network legislation because of opposing the current version that exists in New Jersey. Thank you so much, and thanks for coming tonight.
All right, New York State chapter, another great meeting I've been to. Where's New York?
They got Statue of Liberty hats on back there.
Lady Liberty's back there. All right, so we had a great meeting, lobbying in Albany for access, successful spring conference with 250 people. That's pretty impressive. Private Facebook page and a great walk raising $33,000. Great job, New York.
Ohio.
Ohio! All right, that's what I'm talking about.
All right, combined with Kentucky to create a joint chapter. Their claim to fame is that they're home of the current president, Stacey Brethauer, and they have improved access to care for managed care patients.
All right, great job, and welcome Kentucky to the chapter.
And Kentucky.
Great job. Oregon. All right, the Northwest Passage. Roll out statewide surveys of standard practice. They started their Oregon collaborative efforts, and more than 50% of Oregon bariatric surgeons attendance at their state chapter meeting. That's impressive. Great job, Oregon.
They didn't make the top 3, but Oregon did really well with election participation too. So thank you for that pretty slide. All right, Pennsylvania. There you are.
All right.
They had an annual educational conference, and they have state employee coverage for obesity surgery. We don't have that in Louisiana. By petitioning the state insurance commissioner. Good job,
They serve chocolate at their meetings, so.
Ooh, Hershey's chocolate?
The Hershey's, yeah.
Delicious.
All right, Tennessee. There you go. The volunteers are here. So the largest state meeting in their chapter history, which is fantastic. They funded chapter to cover their meeting expenses, plus a website, quarterly statewide clinical conference calls discussing clinical issues, options on quarterly call for anyone present, difficult cases for discussion. So they got some clinical things going on, and a shameless plug that they're making plans to attend the May. This is the May 2018 Star Wars theme, May the 4th be with you, meeting in Nashville, focusing on controversies, who will be a rebel and who will be the dark side. Stay tuned. Great.
Special guest star, a former ASMBS president is going to appear as Darth Vader at the May the 4th meeting.
Perfect. All right, good job, Tennessee.
And we must have lost a graphic on which state this is.
Whose is this? Texas.
Texas. Texas needs
Texas.
Texas needs PowerPoint coaching. But they have big hats.
They do.
They worked on major legislation to improve access to care, which passed the House but failed to get through the Senate.
Great
They held
job,
a
Nikki.
successful, this is super popular with our allied health part of our membership. They're holding a really good CBN review course in conjunction with their state chapter meeting each time. It's been very, very popular. So please share that with your allied health employees. And they provided 8 hours of MBSA QUIP required CME and 1 hour of Texas required ethics CME at their great Texas meeting. Texas has had an annual meeting. Before ASMBS had state chapters, Texas had tabs, and they always do a great meeting.
All right, Virginia. Virginia. There you are, way in the corner. All right. So they had their annual meeting in April, had a keynote by who? John Morton? John Morton. All right, John gave their keynote. They had the Virginia Bariatric Collaborative is in progress. That's something we're really working towards, is having some quality collaboratives with the state chapters, and they're looking at bundled payments. So strong work, Virginia. Glad you came.
Oh my goodness, lots on this slide. Thank you, Washington.
Where's Washington?
Where are you? Washington State?
A very
There
quiet
they are.
Washington. It's okay to
They're
yell.
so polite. It looks like they've got George
Come on,
Washington.
Sammer. Let's hear it.
George Washington
There
on
you
their front.
go.
There's Sammer. So they're having bi-monthly meetings, which is a lot of time and effort. Thank you for that. Presentations and guest speakers, working on a lot of different initiatives. I can't read all of that.
They had a chapter session in the Washington Order of American College of Surgeons, so they're joining forces with the college for their meetings as well. Working on a collaborative, and have had resident presentations at their chapter meeting, which is really a good idea to bring in some trainees, the fellows and residents to join forces at your state chapter. So great job, Washington. Is that it?
Where in the room is Delaware?
Over there.
Delaware.
Mighty but small.
Oh, they're there. Okay. I got a text message from Leslie about Delaware. Good. All right. Wisconsin.
All right, the Badgers.
Cheeseheads back there.
All right, go ahead.
They had a big. It was so funny behind the scenes. They were going, who's going to check a bag and can carry the cheeseheads? Because they take up a lot of room in the suitcase. Thank you. Somebody has a cheese tie. I didn't know that existed. They met with the state Medicaid leadership, providing testimony to the Committee on Health in the General Assembly regarding removal of emergency medical condition language from state law. The decision's pending. Revised and updated their website. All of you have the opportunity to run a website in conjunction with that goes through the ASMBS website. If you haven't looked at it in a while, please help us update that. And reestablished the state chapter meeting, which is going to be held after the Wisconsin Surgical Society meeting on November 4th. Thank you, Wisconsin.
All right, Wisconsin. All right, everybody. Really appreciate you coming. Hope it was fun. I really enjoyed the governor's talk and enjoyed all the enthusiasm. So thanks so much, and keep those chapters strong moving forward. Thanks for coming.
Thank you. Have a fun night. Happy Halloween.